Hi, hello, and welcome to another session of nicheBrains Expert Review of the Week. I'm John Vincent, co-founder of nicheBrains and the host for this session. Just a quick brief about nicheBrains. nicheBrains is a digital transformation platform which connects millions of SMEs with the best of brains across the globe to adopt digital transformation to help them grow their business exponentially, thus democratizing digital transformation. In today's session, we have a very interesting guest, Professor Shailendra Singh, who's working as associate professor at IBS Hyderabad and also an expert on the nicheBrains platform. Welcome to the session, Professor Shailendra.
Thank you, John. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, great to have you as well. So just a quick brief on Professor Shailendra. So he's got over 16 years of research, consulting, and teaching experience in marketing of health, education, and microfinance services. His recent work has been in the areas of affordability, accessibility, and acceptance in microfinance, healthcare, and education services marketing. As an academic and researcher in management, he has managed and disseminated research in education, healthcare, and microfinance interventions in India. He is also actively involved in the interface between marketing and public policy. So before I go more, let's hear it from Professor himself. So Professor Shailendra, if you can just give us a quick background about yourself, your journey to business school, your core teaching, consulting areas, and also your researches. So it'll be great to hear from you, Professor.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John, for that warm welcome as well. Yeah, you have correctly identified. My name is Shailendra. I'm a faculty in marketing and strategy at IBS Hyderabad, ICFI Business School, Hyderabad. And I have been in academics for all my life, I would say. Right after my college, I went into academics. I have an undergrad degree in mathematics, history, and English, and a postgrad degree in sociology. And I started teaching with an engineering college and then shifted to a management school. And I teach courses, mostly marketing courses, basic marketing courses, Marketing Management 1, 2. I also teach a course on business marketing, which happens to be my favorite course, I would say, to teach, because it just gives me so much opportunity to learn as well.
Yeah.
A few years back, I introduced a new course on platform strategy. About 3 years back, at IBS Hyderabad, we introduced a new course on platform strategy, specifically focused on how do you manage platform businesses growing, which happens to be mostly concentrated on electronic marketplaces. So how do you develop and maintain and grow those marketplaces? So that has been my focus for the last 3 years. I write whatever I learn and whatever I teach, I write about it. I run a weekly newsletter on platform businesses. It's on Substack, which is another platform. So I host it there, and every week, I think ever since the pandemic, even before the pandemic started, I started writing it, and I've got good response on that. So it seems to be a good outlet for me to talk about issues in platform businesses.
Wonderful.
And of course, our common connection is running.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a long distance runner, and I absolutely enjoy going with friends like Lakshmi and you on long runs and discussing everything under the sun, under hot sun as well. So that's what
That's
I live
true.
with my wife, Archana, and Aru, my daughter Aru in Hyderabad.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much for giving a brief background about yourself, Shailendra. So, Professor, if you can, can you share probably, your teaching areas basically focuses on B2B marketing, brand management, and managing platform businesses. I would like to have your views on probably the future of platform business and their impact on manufacturing industries, specifically in India. Let's take it.
Yeah, I guess electronic marketplaces or platforms, as we call them now, or aggregators in some sense, is the way forward. I mean, if you just look around across industries, manufacturing is little laggard in that sense, but other industries, hospitality, other services, education, health, all of them have been radically transformed by platform businesses. Electronic marketplaces help in discovery, help in transactions, help in keeping track of customer relationship at at a scale with greater efficiencies and cost savings. I mean, if you look around out of top 10 global companies in terms of market cap, 9 of them are marketplaces, and electronic marketplaces in that sense.
Right.
In manufacturing, of course, we have had few B2B marketplaces, especially in terms of supplies and supplier aggregation. A lot of supplier aggregation is happening in manufacturing. A lot of services to manufacturing, I would say, are being aggregated and offered through electronic marketplaces.
Right. Yeah. I think you made some points there, because we do have some B2B kind of platforms wherein people do some transactions, but there's still a long way to go in terms of the platform.
The greatest opportunity is definitely platforms like nicheBrains, which is, let's say, an integral part of the manufacturing ecosystem, where we could bring in consulting services on a platform. So nicheBrains, what nicheBrains is doing is in line with platform strategies of creating platforms.
Fantastic. Can you little bit just going on the digital transformations? Can you share some views on digital transformation specifically for MSMEs, manufacturing industries that probably fall in the 30 to 100 to 150 crore bracket in revenue?
I think the greatest ROIs would be seen for MSMEs when they go for digital transformation. I think there is a huge potential there, whether in terms of vendor consolidation or in terms of buyers discovery. On both sides of manufacturing, especially in MSME, there is great potential. And hence, I think if they start investing in right kind of digital technologies, both in terms of vendor acquisition or vendor aggregation, and also in terms of buyer identification and discovery of buyer, and even in terms of payments, for example, I think there is a huge opportunity available there. I guess, like I said, they would have the highest ROI of all the businesses. I mean, if you're a really small business, then there is hardly any revenue, and hence the upside is limited. If you're too big, then the input cost would also be higher. But if you're in that sweet spot of where MSME is 30 to 100 crores, I guess they're going to get the best buck out of the best bang out of the buck for every rupee that they spend. The return is going to be awesome there.
Right. So even we have been interacting with some of the MSMEs in this bracket as well. So some of the challenges when we feel is faced by these industries. So one they point about is like declining revenues and profits. And the other major important factor which they talk about is the lack of resources to probably focus on their new initiatives, because they are so sucked into their day-to-day activities, right? So transforming digitally, or in simple words, technologies can help them solve these challenges. But however, what is happening is the bigger challenges are in terms of either going for ad hoc solutions or siloed approach, which prevent them from having the best of outcomes. So how do you think they should look at their journey to digital transformation?
I don't know. I mean, it might sound very cliche, but I would think that MSMEs, and especially who are aware of what future might be, should stop looking at digital or digitalization as a cost. They should start looking at it as investment in terms of revenue enhancing investments. Right now, they're focused on, I'm going to spend, let's say, 10% or 5% of my revenues on transforming my business digitally. And that seems to be holding them back. Like I said, the returns would take some time to come. And if they start looking at it, let's say, from a revenue enhancing kind of thing instead of a cost saving perspective, I think that is a transformation in mindset that MSME entrepreneurs must bring in, that stop looking at it as a cost reduction strategy and start looking at it as a revenue enhancement strategy, digital transformations. That is the thing that we should, as platforms who are working with MSMEs, this is one thing that we could encourage them to think along, that look at my involvement in terms of not reducing your cost, but enhancing your revenues. So let us be on the revenue side of it. Let us help the MSMEs grow their revenues. Then it will be more palatable for these guys, because when money starts coming in, then everybody starts seeing value in it.
Right. I just I just agree with you there. The focus primarily has been is most towards cost savings, and these are the factors that MSMEs are looking at. But the whole idea is you have to look at the long term, right?
Yes.
So it's not that you take a small solution and look at a small fix to do a cost saving, right? The whole idea is to enhance your overall revenue, and you have to have a serious business around it as to how you plan your vision for probably the next year or couple of years. So I think that you made a classic point there. You need to focus on the how to enhance your revenue. So that's what that.
I would also say the digital marketplaces or the platforms which want to engage with MSMEs should also have this approach, that they know the revenue side of their business rather than the cost side of their business. I mean, a lot of time we go to them and says, "Arey, you deal with us, we're going to bring your cost down by 10%." No, I'm going to give you higher revenues.
Yeah, I think I think there's just a thin line of difference, right? When you say, the cost saving is actually an indirectly, revenue. That's what
it has a limited upside then, because if you are at 100 right now, I can give you a 10% cost saving. So it is just a 10 unit increase. But if I give you a 50% on your revenue, then it becomes much higher.
Absolutely. That's true. That is true.
That is the mindset change that we would need in terms of approaching these guys as well.
Right. The biggest challenge when we speak with SMEs, is the access to right experts as well. So how SMEs should go about, thinking to solve this problem, in your opinion?
I think, like we have discussed earlier also, and while you guys were still developing nicheBrains as well, I think there has to be an availability of independent contractors or independent consultants that MSMEs could reach out to. I think in terms of consulting services, and especially for very niche industries or very small manufacturing concerns, we still lack availability of talent to talk and to help these guys. Having a platform, definitely, I'm a great proponent of platforms here, and I guess there are people who can help, and there are people who can help. We just need a platform which can bring them together.
Absolutely.
And if you could have successful case studies and if you could document them, I think that would be a great sort of hook for the potential MSME entrepreneurs to look at the possibilities which are there and get on with it. And I would say that we should do it, or nicheBrains should do it before McKinsey's of the world understand that there is a market sitting there. Because this is something which could work on scale very rapidly. And I think this is the right time. We should have a platform.
Yeah, I think that's what at nicheBrains also, we're trying to, bring in the experts to a common platform. Obviously, MSMEs cannot afford, largely experienced or very experienced experts on a full-time basis as well. But they need their consulting. So the whole idea behind the platform also is to bring in those experts, and MSMEs can use them on a need basis, for a very lesser cost. Let me put it. So that's the whole idea behind the platform as well. So shifting gears from the MSME as well, right? So what do you see is the future of independent consulting as well, and what would be your advice to people who are pursuing this kind of an independent consulting?
I would say this is sort of the golden moment right now for people who wish to be independent consultants. Because, see, the problem that independent consultants used to face earlier was discovery. Unless you have a physical proximity of somebody who wanted that kind of talent, nobody knows you.
Right.
Discovery was the problem. I mean, you are great at a particular niche industry, but unless you're in a physical proximity of somebody who's a decision maker, you had no access to that market. And on the other side also, a manufacturer or a MSME or a small scale industry, they're looking for talent, and if they're located in a location, and this was very geographic in nature, if you are like in Karimnagar district and you might be big, you might be 100 crore unit, but you're in Karimnagar district, then you don't have access to talent pool. So the discovery and matchmaking, which was hindering this kind of coming together, is now being solved. And with electronic marketplaces available. So I would say it is golden opportunity for independent consultants. I have access to the same market that any big firm would have access to. And in fact, because I don't have those overheads of big firms, I could do it much more economically. So I think it is a great opportunity. And I could, and with COVID, I mean, I know it is a really dreadful word, but what COVID has also shown is that this could be done digitally. This could be done not being in the same physical place. We were forced to do it. It became a norm. It might become a norm that you don't have to have a big office to get people to come to you as consultant. You could be wherever you are, and your intellectual capital is what matters. It would be solved. The problem of discovery and matchmaking, and also assuring intellectual property protection and other things, could be solved digitally.
I think it's very true. I think with this, as you rightly pointed out, with this COVID situation, how the schooling itself is being done, right? Let's understand that the teachers and professors are as well are experts as well. So they are tuned to the online medium today to teach the kids. So I think it doesn't make any difference as well. So consulting too is on the same lines, wherein it's all become digital, and it's easy to get connected with SMEs and customers through your online platform and do the consulting. So I think you made the right points there, Professor. Just can you also we've seen that it's a great opportunity as well for freelance consultants, but can you also share any challenges faced by these freelance or independent consultants in India? What support can help them address these challenges?
I think I would say I don't blame the country or the culture, but we still have problems in terms of enforcing contracts on either sides. I think that is still a problem, and that is where those personal contacts and stuff like that used to work. That physical proximity used to work. That because you're sitting in an office, I could walk into your office and demand that work be done, and because you also had an office, I could walk into your office and demand to be paid. So that physical proximity used to work a lot in terms of enforcing formally, informally those contracts. But one of the problems that we might face when we get into an online platform is enforcing those contracts, or either the word of it or the spirit of it. And I think that still remains a challenge. But we have seen in other places, we have seen in, let's say, customer-facing apps like Uber, where that challenge seems to have been overcome. We always had issues about auto wallas. No, either auto wala is going to ask for more money at the end, or as a rider, I'm going to pay him less, whatever. But that contract has been enforced now, even in any very unorganized market like auto wallas. I'm pretty sure that something could be worked out to enforce contracts and to ensure that IP is protected.
Absolutely.
Enforcing contracts and protection of IP. Now, it could be consultants' IP, it could be the receivers or the buyer's IP. That protection is something that we have to keep in mind, and enforcing contracts. And I think these two problems, these pain points still remain. Remain, and if a platform, and I hope you guys are working on solving these pain points.
I think that's a key point that you made. If the contract engagement between the SMEs and the consultants can be made it more structured and more strong. When I say strong, there, like how you mentioned the Uber or the current ones which are there. For the service, there's already something which is fixed, and that's very clear. So we need to have something more clearer on that front, and if that can be address. That's one of the key challenges which you say that which independent consultants face today, and that will make a long way in getting them onto these kind of platforms too. Right. Yeah. Uh, uh, just one more last point with I have. You're a professor from the B school as well. So we see that the majority of SMEs to have a lack of access, right, to strong experts. So how do you see the role of B schools like your ICFI itself in assisting or filling this gap for SMEs to get access to such experts as full-time or part-time? So is that ICFI is nurturing out these kind of enough digital transformation consultants out, whether they can be directly positioned with the SMEs, or they can be positioned probably along with an expert to gain exposure. So how do you see the role of B schools here in
I
churning
think,
out these experts?
I think that's a wonderful question, and I must congratulate you on, let's say, thinking through it as well. I see business schools and the business school ecosystem sort of helping MSMEs in digital transformation in three particular ways. First is definitely faculties in terms of digital transformations. I mean, the syllabus is being updated very frequently now, and as faculties, especially at IBS, we seem to be taking very keen interest in digital transformation. So we have got a key digital component in all our courses. Almost all our courses has a digital component, not only in terms of delivering the course, but also what are the digital technologies in that particular marketing domain or management domain. So what is the digital technology in B2B? What is there in brand? What is there in sales, distribution, all so on and so forth. That's the first part, which is just that faculty resource which is available could also come in either through a management development program or individual faculty consulting to come and help MSMEs.
Perfect.
That's the first part. Second part is what we have an institutional internship program. So every year students would go out and work for 3 months with companies. I think that's another way, instead of these guys going and working in silos in a very large corporation, perhaps they could be given an opportunity to work on digital transformation projects for 3 or 6 months with MSMEs.
MSMEs, right. Good.
That's another thing. Third thing which I find and which I have started recently, and I'm going to share more details with you after the call also, what I call as sprint internships, which is basically short duration, 6 weeks, intense live thing. So MSME has a problem, which is with digital transformation or digital business. They give a small write-up and say, this is the problem we are facing. I would put it across on my intranet. There are 3 student teams who bid for that project. Whichever solution looks more plausible, MSME says, please work on it and submit a report. And this is live. This is the actual live projects. Instant problem solving, 6 weeks, 4 weeks kind of time frame. Student gets to learn, MSME gets to solve a problem, and all of us are better off because of that. So these are the 3 approaches: faculty, full-time internships, and live projects. And this is how we could help.
I think this will go a long way actually in MSMEs also, right? They've been also struggling for resources, and if B schools also come up with these kind of ideas and approaches, as you rightly pointed out, it'll also help them kickstart, because today one of the challenges when we speak with MSMEs, one is the cost factors as well, right? So when we speak, they say they are a little bit worried going out for large companies. And second thing is also with respect to experts, the costs as well, they could come up. And probably this could be one of the ways wherein they can get access to good well-trained experts from B schools to help them on their transformation as well. Yeah, I think it really makes sense there, Professor. Yeah, I think we had a very good session. I think so. Thank you so much, Professor Shailendra, for sharing about yourself, your thoughts in terms of how SMEs can basically prepare themselves, and also how does the future of independent consulting is looking ahead, and the role of B schools in nurturing our talents. So thank you once again for taking up the session, Professor Shailendra.
Thank you, John. It was a pleasure to be with talking to you.
All right, yeah. So thank you all for taking up this session, for being part of the session, and we'll see you on the other side with another expert in the coming week. So thank you, everybody. Bye.